This was once the only banana on Earth. Then it disappeared. For most of the 20th century, the banana wasn't just a fruit. It was an empire. It powered railroads, influenced governments, and became the backbone of entire economies. And it all rested on a single variety, the Gros Michel. Sweeter, creamier, and more resilient than the bananas we eat today. The Gros Michel dominated global trade for decades, until a microscopic fungus wiped it off the map. This is the story of how one banana took over the world, and how it vanished almost overnight. Bananas are native to Southeast Asia and Papua New Guinea, where wild varieties have been cultivated for thousands of years. These early bananas were full of seeds, fibrous, and barely edible. But over centuries, farmers bred seedless hybrids. The Gros Michel, French for Big Mike, was first described in 1836 by French naturalist Jean-François Pouillat. He discovered it growing in the Jamaican Blue Mountains and quickly realized its potential. It was large, creamy in texture, and had a thick peel. Pouillat began cultivating it on a small scale. By the late 19th century, banana entrepreneurs from the US saw the opportunity. The Gros Michel could survive long-distance shipping, resist bruising, and had an impressive shelf life. The race was on. In 1899, the United Fruit Company was formed, a merger of several competing banana firms. It quickly became a giant in global trade. Headquartered in Boston, it controlled over 80% of the US banana market and held vast land across Central America and the Caribbean. It didn't just move bananas. It built railroads, ports, and telegraph lines, creating entire infrastructures across foreign countries. And in many of those countries, United Fruit wasn't just a company. It was the real power. It funded coups, influenced elections, dictated trade policy. That's where the term Banana Republic comes from. At the center of that empire, the Gros Michel banana. It was a biological goldmine. Its plants grew tall, up to 20 feet, and produced massive, dense bunches. Its flavor was richer and more banana-y than the varieties we eat today. And unlike the fragile Cavendish, its thick peel could survive rough handling and long ocean journeys. By the 1920s, Gros Michel bananas were everywhere. Europe, North America, school lunchboxes, hospital kitchens, even army rations. For decades, the word banana basically meant Gros Michel. But the very thing that made the Gros Michel so successful also made it vulnerable. Bananas don't grow from seeds. The edible ones are sterile. Instead, they're propagated by taking a sucker, a shoot from the base of the plant, and replanting it. Each plant is an exact genetic copy of the last. In other words, the world wasn't growing billions of bananas. It was growing billions of the same banana. This lack of genetic diversity meant that if a disease could infect one plant, it could infect them all. And that disease arrived sooner than anyone expected. In the early 1900s, banana plantations in Panama and Costa Rica began to see signs of something strange. Healthy plants were suddenly wilting. Leaves turned yellow. Entire fields collapsed. The culprit was a soil-borne fungus known as Fusarium oxysporum, more commonly, Panama Disease. It lived in the soil, entered through the banana's roots, and blocked its vascular system, slowly choking the plant from the inside out. Worse still, the fungus couldn't be removed. No chemical spray worked. Burning the fields didn't work. And because it could live in the soil for decades, farmers couldn't simply replant in the same location. It was an invisible bomb ticking away beneath the roots. By the 1950s, the disease had devastated banana plantations across Latin America. Entire economies were in crisis. United Fruit was losing millions. And the Gros Michel? It was finished. In a last-ditch effort to save their industry, banana producers scoured the world for a resistant banana. They found one in England. Yes, England. In the greenhouses of Chatsworth House. The Cavendish banana, named after William Cavendish, the 6th Duke of Devonshire, had been introduced to the estate in the early 19th century as a curiosity. It didn't taste quite as rich. It was smaller, thinner skinned, and bruised easily. Growers were reluctant, but it could survive Panama disease. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, banana plantations were rebuilt with Cavendish clones. The supply chain was adjusted, consumers adapted. Today, over 99% of exported bananas are Cavendish. But there's a catch. The Cavendish is also a clone. Every plant is still genetically identical. And now, a new version of Panama disease, Tropical Race 4, TR4, is spreading fast. First detected in Taiwan in the early 1990s, TR4 has since ravaged plantations in Indonesia, the Philippines, China, and Africa. TR4 affects Cavendish bananas directly, the very variety that replaced the Gros Michel. In 2019, it was detected in Colombia, the heart of Latin American banana production. The banana industry is once again in panic mode. Scientists are exploring new genetic variants. Some are trying to create hybrid bananas by crossbreeding wild varieties. Others are turning to gene editing tools like CRISPR to engineer resistance. But time is running out. Ever wondered why banana-flavored candy tastes nothing like the real fruit? It's because it doesn't. Most banana candies, like Runts or Laffy Taffy, are modeled after the Gros Michel. Today, it tastes exaggerated because the banana it was designed to imitate is almost extinct. Small farms in Thailand, East Africa, and parts of the Caribbean still grow the Gros Michel for niche markets. The fruit once so common that it flavored everything from soda to chewing gum is now something most people will never taste. The banana we eat today isn't the best. It's just the one that survived. The Gros Michel's collapse shows what happens when agriculture relies on a single crop with no genetic diversity. And it's not alone. Chocolate mostly comes from one cacao variety, Forastero, which is vulnerable to deadly fungi like witch's broom. Coffee, 60% of global supply is Arabica, genetically narrow and under threat from leaf rust and rising temperatures. Apples, cloned by grafting. One disease could wipe out entire orchards. When everything's a copy, one failure can be enough. The banana story isn't over. It might just be the first chapter.